Hello, so you are listening to a brand new YouTube channel called Centre Court. My name is Joshua Worrell. And just before I start doing this, actually, I want to give you a bit of background as to who I am and my involvement in the sport of netball. Basically, I began watching it in 2015 during the World Cup down in Australia. I was actually on holiday at the time. I tuned into Sky Sports and I thought, what is this Netball World Cup? Anyway, the rest is history. I started watching it. If I'm not going to lie to you, I did think it would be a girly sport, as the stereotype would suggest. I was guilty of that. I didn't think there'd be much contact in the game, etc. But since I have been watching it, I've found the games to be very enjoyable, very physical. The players all get on with one another on and off the court, very respectful. The umpires all know the jobs. The players respect that as well. And I think it's a sport that's on the rise, hence my need to start this channel and to promote the sport from a male perspective as well, because I don't think a lot's being done for the male side of the game, but I will discuss that in future podcasts. Just to get the ball rolling a little bit, I just want to do a team of the season with a difference. Now, as a lot of you may know, I do watch the Vitality Super League every week on Sky, and I'm a season ticket holder at Loughborough Lightning. However, I have a great appreciation for the entirety of the game, the entirety of the growth in this country, and of course in Scotland and Wales as well, with Sirens and Celtic Dragons. I'd like to think my knowledge has developed to a level where I can pick out the key players from the season in a light-hearted manner for my first video. I do say at this point this video is the start of many to come. I'm trying to grow myself in the podcast, and more importantly, it's not about me, it's about the sport. You know, being able to tap into a few people's minds to maybe watch a game or to go to a game or to even just enjoy the melodic sound of my voice. Whatever the key thing is here, the message is netball exists, go out and watch it, and you will be in for a relative surprise, I would say, if you're new to the game. Anyway, start off with the goalkeeper in this team of the year with a difference. Now, I call it that for a reason. It's because a lot of the pundits, they pick players from the same team. In these setups, you know, Wasps have obviously won the title, so they'd have Wasps goalkeeper all the way through to shooter probably. But for me, I'm going to have one player per team, per position. For example, if I picked Sam May from Wasps, I couldn't pick another Wasps player in the whole team. If I picked Peace Praskovia for Lightning, I won't be able to pick her again. The reason I've picked those two is because I've not picked them in the team. We're going to start with the goalkeeper, and of course it is the one and only Shamira Sterling. Now, when this player first came to Lightning at the start of the season, people didn't really know a lot about her. She did come from Jamaica. Vast potential, of course, hence why a team like Loughborough have gone for her. And I've been quite lucky enough to watch her at close quarters throughout the season as a season ticket holder at Loughborough. In no way has this affected my decision, by the way. I've gone off what I've heard and what I've seen. According to Guy Burgess, one of the umpires, she's the best goalkeeper in the world. Now, that is quite praise from a man that's done Australia, New Zealand and England games on a national scale and international scale. The reason I've gone for it is because even at the tender age of 22 or whatever she is, she's young anyway, she has the ability to be able to reach balls that nobody else would be able to reach. She's got a great spring, she intimidates opponents with her presence on the court. And you look at the final the other week, Tamsin Greenway actually said that their game plan was to shut Shamira Sterling down and their intercepts that Loughborough were getting off the back of that. So it shows how important she is to the Loughborough franchise. I think it's one of the key reasons that they did get to the final. Although we have to mention in this as well that Vicky Oyasol has been fantastic with her this season as a foil in there to help her out. But just for me, Shamira Sterling has the potential to maybe play abroad. She's obviously come back from the Commonwealth Games with a bronze medal, so that'll do her confidence the wealth of good, and I think it's transmitted onto the court as well, that experience of coming back from such an important tournament. Loughborough, of course, they'll do well to keep hold of her, but I think if they do, they'll push next season again for the grand final. She really is that important to the team. It goes without saying as well, we can mention Kerry Allman from Thunder as probably a very close second, because of, again, the experience level, the fact that opponents, when they go up against her, they already know what they're going to get. They're going to get a player that's going to be in your face. They're going to try and get intercepts. They're strong physically, tough mentally, and I think that's what you need as a goalkeeper. But I think Shamira just takes this one because she has that raw potential, and the whole world of netball is currently talking about. So you watch Sky, you listen to podcasts, the likes of Andy Lamb speaks very highly of her. So that is why, for me, Shamira Sterling is my goalkeeper of the year. Moving forward now to who would partner her at goal defence. Now, I'm not going to go for the obvious here. I'm going to actually go for Samantha Cook from 7 Stars. I think, from what I've seen of Sam, again, relatively young player. She's playing in the 7 Stars team that are obviously, well, they're in the second season, just finished now in the Vitality Netball Super League. What Sam does give you is, again, the ability to turn the ball over, but also it's a work rate off the ball. She does get up and down that court, and she does a lot of the work that goes unnoticed a lot of the time, although she did get man of the match in one of the games on Sky, or should I say player of the match, to keep it in line there. But yeah, Sam has been a fantastic player this season in a team that's perhaps not achieved their full potential, I'd say, in 7 Stars. She's obviously learning under a great coach though in Sam Bird. She obviously does a lot to help the girls out and to push them towards where they need to be. But yeah, I think there will be clubs looking at Sam Cook just because of the work rate, because of the discipline that she has for such a young player. And speaking to her off court as well, she does seem to understand that there is still areas for improvement in the game as well. So that all those things put together for me indicate that Sam Cook and Shamira Sterling would be my partnership of the season, if that makes sense. I think they would work well together. Now, in terms of the wing defence, a lot of people do class this as a centre court position. For me, I see it as the third defender in a way, and I have gone for Imogen Allison from Bath. Again, I've gone for her not just because she's a young player with potential. She's already showing that in abundance. Similarly to the likes of your Beth Cobdens of this world and your Jay Clarks of this world, when she does play wing defence, she turns over a lot of ball. It's not only turning that ball over as well, it's making it count. It's feeding it into your centre or your wing attack with pace, with that netball brain to be able to time the balls through to the wing attack and centre to split the opposition open as well. Because a lot of players, you turn the ball over and then in 2 or 3 passes time the ball is back to the opposition again. So for me, it's been clinical. A lot of teams use that phrase, clinical, in netball. Making the turnovers count, that's what does win your games at the end of the day. And there was an example I saw, again, not to mention Loughborough again, but it was Bath against Loughborough. It was top of the table clash really, in that 4th position at the time for who would, gain an upper hand in that. And Bath were 10 goals down with 1 quarter to go, and I think a lot of what they did was down to Imogen turning that ball over, getting the ball, obviously, as I said, with pace, because they didn't have much time left to claw back a 10-goal deficit, especially against a team like Loughborough. And of course, I do my research as well. I go out and watch other games. I went to watch Stars on the last game of the season, and I thought Sam was outstanding, to be perfectly honest with you. And she has got the ability to get even better as well. So I'm going to leave that there with Shamira Sterling and Sam Cook as the goalkeeper and goal defence. Now, just before I carry on with this, actually, I do want to mention about the Netball World Cup next year. For those of you that don't know, it's fantastic that it's going to be in this country. It's northern as well, in Liverpool, and Thunder are doing a lot of great work, Manchester Thunder this is, with the young players developing. And I think anyone with ties to that club, or indeed any club in the UK, should look at coming to watch a game in Liverpool, in the north, where I think netball is on the rise. Tickets are very cheap. They're currently on a pre-sale to netball members or people who have signed up for that. But in the coming weeks, they will be on general sale. And I looked this morning, tickets start from as little as £10. So well worth getting yourself down there. I've been lucky enough to go and watch England a few times, met Tracy Neville and all the England team. They've helped me with my knowledge and development as a budding person who can talk about netball and spread the message. And obviously I'm very passionate about the game as well, being an all-female sport in this country, which I think is fantastic on the whole. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Back to this though, we're going to go for the centre now. Now the centre in netball is very important. It's the player that holds the team together, I think. It's the engine room. They have to be able to go from one end to the other. They have to be able to liaise with the wing attack. At times, they have to put the ball straight into the goal attack or goal shooter, depending on the scenario of the game. And I've actually gone for, because I'm only allowed one player per team, it did leave me in a bit of a predicament for a while, but then I thought there's one that stands out, there's one that's got to go in there straight away, and that is Sarah Bayman. And I think the reason she gets in there is obviously because of the international experience that she has, and the way that despite Siren struggling this year, the team that she plays for, she has been able to guide them through a couple of games using that know-how, netball experience, and she's just landed a coaching job at my team as well at Loughborough. So it does show that she is on the right path in development wise with that experience, but also it's about how she transmits it on court, and that is why she gets in my team. Nothing to do with the off-field stuff or the coaching pathway. It is to do with what she's done on court over such a long period of time as well. She'd be an asset to any team that she'd be in. So for me, Sarah Bayman ticks all the boxes as to what you'd want as a new franchise, which is why Sirens obviously paid the money that they did for her. She's tough, intimidating, physical. She's got international experience. She's got one of the highest rates of England caps going. She's been around the game for a long time, can pass that knowledge on to younger players, can go into training and be able to advise the youngsters coming through, this is what you need to do, this is how you become an England international, etc, etc. So yeah, Sarah kind of picked herself. When I looked at who I already had in my team, my spine of my team, there'd be nobody better with all the young players like Sterling and Cook and Allison who I've just discussed. Bayman would be that experienced head to, you know, if things were going tough, they could liaise with her to be able to change the game plan and things like that. So yeah, Sarah picks herself at centre. Wing attack now. This is going towards your striking positions, you know, the positions that win you the game as such, because without putting the ball in the net, you don't win. For me, the best wing attack in the world currently plays for Manchester Thunder. People might disagree with me, but I have seen it on more than one occasion this year, 5 or 6 occasions, if you count the times I've seen her on telly and things like that. I have been impressed with what Tracy Neville, with what Mickey Austin and Pam Cookie say about her. That she has experience, she's tenacious, she's tough, she's done it on the international stage again, similarly to Sarah. You can never have too many of these players in your team, for my money, especially in a sport like netball. Experience tends to win the day. You look at the final last week. Wasps had far more players that had played in a grand final than Loughborough had, and I think it showed on the day for the second year running. Experience is absolutely vital. Obviously enthused with, you know, the young talent that I've already picked out in my team, but Liana Leota is just a competitor. She's a warrior. She turns a lot of ball over for a wing attack as well, especially at her age, to be able to have that athleticism and ability to get up and down the court and to drive the team on as well when the going gets tough. I think you can never have too many of them in your team. Skill level wise, she can feed the ball in when at times it looks impossible. She has a great relationship with Joyce Mvula, who plays goal shooter for Thunder. She's obviously done it for New Zealand, the Silver Ferns, the second most successful international side in the world ever. So yeah, she definitely picks herself in my team. Again, similarly to Sarah, you look at players who you'd put straight in that team, she'd go right in there. Especially as she was voted the player of the season, by the way. There's no greater accolade than that in the Netball Super League, especially when you consider both finalists, Loughborough and Wasps, didn't get a player in there, did they? It was Thunder. Again, now moving forward to the goal attack and goal shooter, it's important that these are a partnership. They'd have to be able to work together like clockwork. When one comes out the circle, the other holds the space. Some shooters do prefer to have the goal attack in the circle as well, pulling the opposition out, creating space for them, doubling up as well against the more experienced defenders in this league. So we'll start with the goal attack. I have gone with Natalie Haythornthwaite from Wasps. Now the reason that I've gone for Natalie is because this season she's had a massive upturn in terms of shooting percentage, in terms of minutes on the court in that position. She played wing attack a lot before that, and I don't think coaches really saw her as an out-and-out goal attack. But I think this season, alongside experience again like Rachel Dunn at goal shooter for Wasps, she's really come on and developed into the sort of player who can do it consistently on an international stage, and that is what the likes of Tamsin and Anna Carter and Karen Gregg coaches talk about in the press. They talk about players who can go on to be that next level and can be their number one pick on the team sheet, and I think that certainly ticks a lot of those boxes. Evident obviously through the recent transfer to the New South Wales Swifts down in Australia. For people who don't know, Australia and New Zealand is like the hotbed of, you know, taking you on to being a fantastic player. You obviously get better structure, better organisation, you get more financial reward for doing that. You play into bigger audiences. It's global. It's a global scale. The leagues abroad, so I think Natalie has earned that right to go over there, judging by what she's done this season. Not only does she shoot very well percentage wise, she also, as I've alluded to, she does create space for opposition players or players on her own team to be able to feed off that. She's played wing attack a lot as well, so she understands how to feed the ball into the goal shooters. And I've gone for, alongside her, I've gone for Karen Bailey from Mavericks. The reason that I've gone for Karen is, again, just the out and out shooting percentage, the intimidation that she has in terms of opposition players coming up against it and not being able to work her out. Mavericks unlucky, of course, not to make the top 4 this season, but I do think if they keep hold of Karen, which is probably easier said than done, they will be on the right tracks next season. So maybe come into that 4th spot where Bath occupied this season. She's been a fantastic asset to that team, very underrated. A lot of teams talk about Peace for Loughborough and what she does, but I think this season I've been quietly impressed with Karen on the whole. I've been impressed with how Mavericks they've obviously relied on her to get the goals, but she's done that in a selfless way for the team. She makes herself available. Again, high percentage of shooting, which is what you want from a goal shooter. It's not only that, it's the intimidation side of it, the way that teams fear going up against her. And I just think she is key to every result Mavericks have, especially in tight games. So that is my starting 7 in this team of a season with a difference. We've got Shamira Sterling for Lightning as your goalie, goal defence Sam Cook, wing defence Imogen Allison, centre Sarah Bayman, wing attack Liana Leota, goal attack Nat Haythornthwaite, and goal shooter Karen Bailey. Yeah, so it's been great to obviously produce this first video. I'll obviously grow into this role a bit more once I've got a better idea of the structures that I want to have in place, and maybe could get some guests on as well to talk about netball in perhaps more detail than I can at this moment in time. But yeah, it's just to scratch the surface and say that I'm here promoting the sport of netball. And if you have liked it, please share this and comment underneath with potential ideas that you've got for me to be able to improve this even further. But I've been Josh, and we'll see you very soon on this Centre Court YouTube channel.